Hey everybody! So today we're going to talk some about the Super Galactic Center because I need to correct myself. Okay, I did a blog post about this a while back, kind of dipping my feet into it. And when I did this blog post, and I'm still just dipping my feet into it, right? And this is why at the beginning of all of these Galactic Center videos, I put a disclaimer that I'm just fucking with astrology and I'm not like claiming that I'm right and that I reserve the right to be wrong. Yeah, well, this is one of those times when I'm glad that I say that because I was not correct about I don't think I was correct about what to actually pull to find the Super Galactic Center. There are a bunch of different things on astro.com that you can pull that look like, okay, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Here. Okay. Look at all these fucking things that look like galactic, blah, 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 blah. Okay? There's a shitload of them. So to put for the Super Galactic Center, I was pulling GAL Pole, G Pole, which is like the Galactic Pole. I thought that was where the Super Galactic Center is. Now, come to find out, the Super Galactic Center, well, it's very close to this. Actually, though, I guess what people have used to find this in a natal chart, they had been pulling something called Messier 87, which, I mean, I've obviously heard that name and looking at the Super Galactic Center, but I didn't realize that it was actually something that you could pull on astro.com for whatever stupid reason. But what's interesting about this is that when you pull these, right, like I'll show you my chart as an example, they're fucking real close to one another. As you can see, the Galactic Pole thing I was pulling is at 29 something Virgo, and then that Messier 87 is at 1 degree Libra in my chart. So they're very, very, very close. And what got me thinking about this in the first place is I was looking into the Super Galactic Center, and I noticed that when it's written about strictly from a Libra lens. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, why are we right? I mean, I realized that because remember at the time I was looking at it from the Galactic Pole, right? That thing. So I was thinking to myself, okay, like a lot of people that are alive here on Earth today actually would have it would have been in Virgo. The Galactic Pole, it looks like shifted into Libra in 1993. Now that begs a whole other question, like, what does that mean? I think that has to do with like the galactic coordinate system or something. I'm pretty sure the more that I looked into it, I think that actually does. But I do wonder what that means when that pole shifts from Virgo to Libra. Like, it does seem like there'd be some kind of shift galactically, if you will. But I think Messier 87 is actually what you should be pulling for the Super Galactic Center. I think it is. Because I noticed it was always being written about through a Libra lens, and I'm like, okay, why is that? Well, then I realized that Messier 87 has been in Libra for a while. Now it's like at 2 degrees Libra. So that's the one that you should actually be pulling. Though I am curious about the Galactic Pole thing and the shift from around 1993 from Virgo to Libra, and what those implications might be or might have been. But I would need to know more about the Galactic Pole and the galactic coordinate system, which I don't know that much about right now. So pull that one. Pull that one. It'll probably be pretty close to, like, if you've already tried pulling it with Galactic Pole, it'll be very close to that. Because they're like, what, 2 degrees from one another in my chart? They're real close. More than likely they'll be like that in yours too. Now, I also started looking into the Super Galactic Center just a little bit more. And I noticed that when it's talked about, when it's mentioned, it tends to be talked about in a relationship context. Now, I understand that because it is in Libra. So I understand that I understand that. I do think relationship things are a little too harped on. That is just my opinion. I don't think I don't know. I mean, it doesn't, I may not have explored everything that this has to do with yet. I know I haven't. But like I was looking at an article that Philip Sedgwick wrote about this. And I don't disagree with it. But I also don't think that it's just a relationship thing. He kind of makes it seem like I'll link the article. It says something like you're not supposed to repost it somewhere, so I'm not going to post it. I'm just going to link it. Hopefully that's okay. I'm not trying to claim it as my own. But that way you all can kind of see what I'm talking about. I don't know. I mean, I feel like with the black hole you're dealing with, because that's what it is. That's what the Super Galactic Center is. It is a black hole. Super massive, And I do feel like there could be some screwiness with there could be some screwiness with relationships. Or he kind of makes it sound like if you've got connections to the Super GC, that you almost like suck things from your partner. I could see how that could be the case. At the same time, though, I could also see the person somehow having their own energy sucked from their partner, too. I don't think it always goes with the other person being drained. I don't think it does. I think that's too simple. Or maybe I'm making things too complicated. I don't think it's that simple, though. I think that it can go either way, and I think that would depend a lot on what the fuck you're talking about being, up the Super GC's ass. and the rest of the chart would kind of give you an idea as to what is going on. But Libra is relationships, but Libra is also like balance, and it's also balance. So balance and harmony. So it could be that perhaps there's just a lack of balance in the area of life where the Super GC falls. There could be like a vacuum in that area of life that kind of throws other things off balance, or throws the person off balance. I don't think it always has to go the way of relationships. I don't think it does. But like I said, I am not, like I've said in all the other videos, I'm not a GC expert, a Super GC expert. This is really just fucking with astrology here. And I do reserve the right to be wrong about this. I might feel like I'm wrong about this in time. But right now that feels kind of, relationships are certainly important when you're talking about the sign of Libra, but balance feels important too. And I feel like that could be where it primarily comes into play as well. I could see that. I could see it manifesting that way. I could definitely see it manifesting that way. Let me see if they're, yeah. So I think that's pretty good. Any planet that's like conjunct the Super GC, I'm talking about conjunctions right now, that planet might be there might be some lack of balance there until the person figures out what they really need from their soul. There is a thought that like this is more tied to, that the Super GC is more tied to the soul. Yeah. So once the person figures out what that is, it's also tied to trauma, which I think is interesting. It's tied to trauma too. He ties it to trauma, and like it's trauma that it's a kind of trauma that like, okay, like you might have somebody who has trauma that feels like they have trauma, but perhaps there's nothing from their lifetime in this lifetime that really fits the kind of trauma that they feel like they have. Fits, you know, whatever that means. The Super GC is also said to be linked to something like that, which I think is interesting, especially because I do think it's interesting to work with trauma in the natal chart to work through it. This does seem like this could be a place to look for that kind of thing, for that kind of astrological work. That does seem very possible. I'll have to look more into that, but I do think it's interesting. Yeah, I do think that's interesting. Another thing I wanted to mention, this is not about the Super GC, but it's about the GC, and how in the last video I did about this, I talked about galactic activation portal days, and I mentioned I was curious how many people in the research so far were born on those days. I don't think it actually matters. Not really. I mean, I think it does, but I don't think that it I think it does matter, but I don't think that you have to be born on a galactic activation portal day to be able to access them. Like, I think that anybody that has like GC shit going on can probably access the Galactic Center easily on the gap days. But I was curious how many people in the study were actually born on gap days. I only came back with 10. So I think that's interesting, that only 10 people were born on these days. But it does make me wonder about these 10 people, if perhaps something is heightened. I don't know. I don't know. I have to think about that some more. I'm not going to say who they are. but yeah, I didn't think it'd be a super high number, and that's not. But it does make me curious about how the GC might actually manifest in their life since they are born on gap days. I do feel like it might manifest. Could be stronger. I don't know. It could be. Maybe. I don't know. Just some thoughts. Anyway, I'm going to get going. But if you want to follow us on Instagram, you can find us at Let's Fuck with Astrology. I'm at Saturn Season Astrology on Instagram. Natalie is at Paternal Astrology on Instagram. If you want to like or subscribe or whatever the fuck people do with videos on YouTube, you can go to you can find us by searching for Let's Fuck with Astrology in the YouTube search bar. If you do the Reddit thing, come join us on the subreddit Let's Fuck with Astrology. And if you're interested in the star cards, go to letsfuckwithastrology.com/star-cards. Okay, y'all. I'll see y'all later.